Hey everybody, I hope you're doing pretty well this Friday and have a good weekend. But today I'm going to be talking to you about a project called Elephant.Money. Now, what got me into Elephant.Money was digging around and learning that this project is a lot like the Luna blockchain in the fact that it's a two-token ecosystem that has to do with burning some tokens and paying very high APRs to a stable coin, but an algorithmic stable coin, not one that's really backed exactly, but is kind of backed by a real stable coin. And so we're going to get into this project as it's pretty exciting and you can make some pretty big yields. Now, I still use a program like Celsius for my bigger holdings, but I take a smaller amount of my portfolios and I put them into these high yield category projects. And sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't, but this one really looks like it could be quite amazing if this works. So Elephant.Money, as you can see, they're not a brand new project. They have $521 million in AUM, and they've kind of passed the torch to me to a project that shows that it can be stable and that it can continue to grow while still paying absolutely amazing APRs. As you can see here, Trunk is their stable coin, and it can pay out 73% if you just stake it, which is a lot more than Anchor Protocol. And if you use the bonding functionality, you get a 205%. And I'll explain how both of those work. That's on a stable coin. Now, if you want to go ahead and get the Elephant token, this token is a reflection token that is basically used within their ecosystem. And there are a lot of things within the ecosystem that should drive the price of this token up if the project continues and is successful. But that is more of a speculation play. Again, you do not have to get into Elephant token at all if you want to get into Trunk and Stampede, but you do want to understand what Elephant token is since it is in the ecosystem, and you would possibly take some of your returns in the form of Elephant.Money. And then you'd have to sell the Elephant.Money, and there is a reflection token, so there is a fee on that, so that could cause you to have a tiny bit of a loss. But if you're earning 73% to 205%, taking a 10% hit on 25% of your cash out would not ruin your profits. It would just lower them a tiny bit. Now, that is not something that always happens, so we're going to break this down. So I hope you're going to stick around to learn how you can make some really good returns on a stable coin and possibly decide whether or not you want to get into the Elephant token. So the Elephant token, if you click on it, you'll come to this page here. It's on the Binance Chain Network. And as you can see, I've made my first purchase. This is not really that much money. If I put in, I think it was 0.3 BNB, that's what got me around the 26 million. They have a pretty simple interface here that lets you buy the BNB to Elephant. That's their main pair. But you can also get the token contract right down here off of the site. And you can go ahead and go to PancakeSwap and swap it out. They have a chart here. The token has come down a tiny bit in recent times, but that has to do with a special event that happens every so often within this ecosystem. So we have to come down here to kind of get into it. So basically, the way this token works is that it's a reflection token where it started out with all the tokens mint, so there's no additional tokens being mint. 25% were locked up into liquidity with a liquidity thing that they did in the beginning, and now that's has grown. So as you can see, they have $73 million in liquidity, and they have a graveyard. Now this is an interesting graveyard. This isn't your typical graveyard. This graveyard started at 49%. It collects tokens during the reflections that are going on, and then when it gets up to 52%, it does a dump of 3% of the tokens to get the token, the graveyard, back down to 49%, and then it takes those funds and it uses it to lock up more liquidity and set some aside to be used for other things within the project. Now, this is why, if you look at the Elephant.Money chart, they have these dramatic drops and then a whole bunch of activity. It got back up to 52. We had another little drop, but as you can see, the token continues to head up. And while this might look like you're buying at a high, you're actually buying at what would be about a let's see, 6 to 4, so like a 40% pullback, and we're heading back up. And the token is going to be volatile, but if you keep it in your wallet, you're going to be earning rewards. So standard kind of reflection token, think SafeMoon, think anything else, except for what's the biggest problem with those tokens. There's usually no action in them. There's no buying and selling of them. People end up getting bags of them, they just hold them, and then there's no volume, and so then you don't see the token actually move. But when you look at the Elephant.Money chart, look at all this volume. Where's all that volume coming from, right? Well, that's where the trunk token comes into play. So the trunk token is minted with BUSD. So I did my first mint today of just over 250 tokens, which allowed me to get my first bond, because I'm going to be putting tokens into the bond and the staking, and I'll explain the difference in those. So staking is pretty much just normal staking. This is where most of you are going to feel more comfortable, and this APR is a variable APR. Just a little while ago it was in the 60s, but because their treasury has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, the APR has gone up. The APR of trunk is based on the size of the treasury and then paying out 1% per day. So this APR can never go to zero, but it can get smaller if the treasury were to stop getting influxes of additional money. But when you mint trunk, you go ahead and you put money in. So you're gonna come here, you're gonna put your BUSD in after you approve the contract, and you're gonna mint it, and they're gonna go ahead and take that, and they're gonna take 75% of that and leave it in BUSD, and then they're gonna take the other 25% of that deposit, and they're going to buy Elephant token. And they're going to take that Elephant token and they're going to put it into locked liquidity. And so there ends up being these, you end up putting money into like some liquidity pairs, and then you end up getting your trunk tokens. There's also a small fee when you deposit these, and I'm not going to break this down perfectly today. I just learned about this project recently. I got into it. I'm going to be doing follow-up videos where I can get a little more in depth, but right now I wanted to talk about kind of the basic functionality of the site in case you wanted to join me as I get into it today. Now, when you're staking, there's no kind of referral system, no kind of bonuses, no kind of marketing gimmicks or any of that kind of stuff, but you will just get paid out based on how much you've deposited, a very high APR, and it is free to claim. But this is the thing that you have to know. When the trunk token is under peg, when you cash out your trunk, so if you go to here and you go to redeem, you're going to get 25% of your value given to you in the Elephant.Money token. That token does have a sell tax, so you're going to maybe lose a tiny bit of that if when you cash out it's at that peg. So if we go ahead and take a quick look at the peg of this token, you'll see it's done a pretty good job of staying pretty close to $1, but it does tend to spike above at times, and so you can try to time your sale correctly on one of those spikes, or you can go ahead and just be willing to sell while it's under peg, and you're going to get those 25% in Elephant tokens. Now that shouldn't be a problem if you've been in here long enough, because taking 25% off, like if you've deposited $100, you've waited long enough and you're at like $150 or $160 in trunk, and you take that, even if you take that little bit of a loss, you should go ahead and get out ahead. This is one of the ways, though, that they make sure that the Elephant token always has volume going in it. This is why the system works well with the Elephant token, because they force people to go ahead and make a sale of that Elephant token when they want to go ahead and cash out of trunk. And they make you make a buy when you want to go ahead and get into trunk. This creates a ton of volume on the other side, because there are millions and millions of dollars that are starting to go into these staking pools, because it is a relatively stable coin. Now you're giving BUSD, the token is slightly under $1, but it's because you're going to be able to get into these massive APRs. Now, What about the 205% APR on a pretty much stable coin? And look, I've gotten my first little airdrop of one trunk from my partner. So the way this system works is when you join, you can choose to use a partner or you could choose not to. If you use a partner, it's not one of those crazy marketing gimmicks where you go downline, a whole bunch of different times. It's also not a system where my deposit only helps me. If you do a partner list, then there is a one part of the 1% fee gets deposited back to you. So I'll have my address in my video. You can sign up as my partner. If I do build up a team within this system, I will do airdrops, but I'll have to see. If I don't get a team going, then I probably won't be doing them. But hopefully a few of you decide to come and try this system with me. Now, if you understand the DRIP protocol, the Stampede's perpetual bonds are basically the DRIP protocol. So the money that you put into this 251 that I got after I said I minted just under 250, you're going to deposit that and then it is going to be gone. To you, that money is burnt. You cannot withdraw it, but you start to earn a 205% APY based on this, so that you'll earn a payout every single day. You can claim that, but there's some fees on claiming, just like in DRIP, or you can roll that, and if you roll that, the fees are smaller. So it works that same way, where you can go ahead and try to compound your earnings, or you could just make one big deposit and come here once a week and collect some of your rewards. As you can see, for depositing 251, my maturity date at a year later is 516. But if I do a roll, eventually this will move over. Now, because there are some very complex transactions that happen in the background when you are doing these things, to make sure that there's always a lot of volume going on in the Elephant.Money token, they do a special thing right here where somebody has to actually go ahead and press this button and be willing to pay the gas fees for your rolls. So rolls become free to you unless you decide that you want to hit the Stampede button. Now, as a small user like me with $251 going to hit that button and pay the expensive like $6 gas fee? No, but the big accounts who have lots of money involved in this are the ones who are going to do this for you. And so this gets done, but sometimes it might take a little while throughout the day before your actual roll takes place. But that's what makes you not have to pay a gas fee to actually do the rolls. Claims, you will go ahead and have to do a gas fee. So how many people are in this? So you can see the Elephant token holders, there's 17,000 different addresses. That's pretty good. You can actually see here. Oh no, this is on the trunk token. I'm sorry. This is the total supply of trunk. So there's 17,000 people holding them. There's over $20 million that have been minted in trunk. So that's $20 million in BUSD that was used to go ahead and mint and buy Elephant.Money. And even with $20 million in the system, the 1% payouts are still working out to a 73% APR, and the system is still able to pay the 205% on these deposits. They have a very good video that I'm going to have in the description that goes over how this can be kept up. And it's not like it is saying that these percentages won't ever go down, but as long as people continue to come to the site, deposit BUSD into trunk, or take trunk out, the Elephant token constantly gets moved around, and then that increases the treasury holdings of the system. Sorry about that. It's a really ingenious system, and it kind of amazes me that it's been, from what I can see, a little bit under the radar. Now, it's not something that's way under the radar, as there is a lot of money deposited into these systems, but in general, you have to know that eventually some people are going to catch on to this, and it's going to get really popular. Because if you can continue to pay a very, very high APR while allowing lots of money to come into the system, it's going to attract people's attention, because the only thing you have to do is prove that the trunk coin can keep its peg and stay near that dollar. Now, just to talk a little bit more about how the whole system benefits the elephant token and makes it a very good reflection type token is because there is all of these fees that on the other system when moving money in and out of the system that actually makes transactions happen on the elephant token. That's why the elephant token actually isn't having a problem where over time there's no volume. Over time there's just more volume as more people learn about the trunk system and the system of being able to stake the trunk token at such a high APR. So that's all you need for people to actually continue to move the Elephant.Money token around and create reflection rewards. The reflection rewards are the key to keeping the trunk the overall Elephant.Money treasury funded, because it is the second biggest holder of the elephant token. It has those elephant tokens to be able to mint out to you when you redeem your token if the token is under peg. And if not, if it's not under peg, then it go ahead and it issues you out 100% BUSD. But because it's doing that, these tokens are constantly moving around in the ecosystem. People are constantly bringing money in and minting new trunk, taking money out and minting new elephant money to them. And all of that stuff is going to be moving around all over the place, creating a lot of reflections. And that is what allows their treasury to constantly refill from those reflection rewards. And then at the same time, in the ecosystem, they've built in a way to automatically lock more liquidity. By locking more liquidity of a token that has no inflation, because the Elephant.Money token has already been 100% minted out, once the liquidity pool becomes one of the bigger holders within the system, then you're talking about the price is just naturally going to head up and to the right. And that's what gives you this price action here, where even when you break it down to these smaller time frames, you're seeing it went up and up and up and up. It had the big sell-off. There was just a massive amount of volume, which allowed the graveyard to fill up again, causing another graveyard sale. And now the token is going to start probably on a another uptrend until the graveyard pushes it back down. Now, every time though, the floor that it gets pushed down to should hopefully be a little bit higher, as long as the token keeps getting the adoption from the Elephant.Money system, getting more money brought into the trunk ecosystem overall, and more people being able to stake at these very, very high APRs. I mean, I don't know anywhere else where you can come close to earning 73% on stablecoins for staking. And I did, at this point, I'm not actually staking tokens. I'm using the bonding curve, because you can earn 205% down here. But you have to be comfortable with that whole system of the way it works, with the note that these tokens are not going to go, they're not coming back to me. I cannot withdraw these. I could have just staked them here. I'd be earning my rewards much slower, but it allows you to go ahead and pull those back out. Now, my overall plan with this token is to go ahead and is to push this up over time. And then when this gets to a comfortable level with a good maturity, then I'll start claiming rewards and putting them in here to go ahead and give myself some liquidity that I'm able to access if I need it. And at the same time, I'm going to be making small purchases of the Elephant.Money token, because I know that by staying in the trunk system, I'm going to be pushing up the value of the Elephant token, because I'm going to be continually making them have to go ahead and do more buys of that token as more money gets brought in. And so my reflection account should get bigger, and it should drive up the value of that token. It's a really great flywheel system. And one of the other things about this project is that the dev is fully out there in the open. So if you click here and you go to their Twitter, you can go ahead and find this person on his link tree, and you're able to go ahead and see that he is the founder of another project that was kind of similar. And then he came over and he redid his project as Elephant.Money, because he learned some mistakes from the other project. He fixed it. He made the ecosystem work, and he basically created the Luna mechanism before Luna did. And it's pretty amazing to see that there's this project over here with this algorithmic stablecoin built together with a reflection token that is able to, support 73% APR with over $500 million in the platform. And people are not that excited for it. I'm really excited I found this. I think it's going to be a really cool project to follow up on and be a part of. And so I hope you decide to go ahead and come and check this out. Thanks, everybody. Bye.